They executed the curse of the Billy Goat. They turned an amazing city upside down. They flipped it on its back, and they've been partying ever since. This guy has had quite the run, quite the career. 15 years in the show, many different stops, and everywhere he's been lauded really as one of the great teammates of this generation. And I'm talking about David Ross of the world champion Cubbies. David, Tiki, and Tierney, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing?
Doing awesome. What is the last, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 days? What has this ride been like? I mean, you got to be having a blast, man.
I'm having fun. There's not a whole lot of sleep involved. I'll tell you that. There's
Yeah.
a lot of traveling. It's been. I mean, the parade first of all was absolutely amazing, and just the people, the love, all the people that came out, the love I was getting from my teammates, from the fans. Just a special day that I'll never forget. Just a really, really cool moment for me and my family. And then I got to do the Saturday Night Live thing. That was, I mean, I laughed my head off with Bill Murray. He was in our dressing room the whole time while we were rehearsing and doing everything. So that was one of the highlights, and got to go to the after party, which was a lot of fun. Met some really cool people and just super nice people. And then me and KB went to Ellen, and that was a treat. Going out there to LA and doing that thing, and finally getting here back home and settling down, taking my kids back to school. I think it's the most fun I've had, because it's just a little slower paced lifestyle here in Tallahassee where I live, and so that was nice.
David, you look at your career, and you've won 2 of these things. One with the Red Sox, and obviously this one just a few weeks ago. How do you compare the two? I mean, obviously they're both emotional in different ways, but how do you compare these two?
Yeah, it's hard to. I've tried not to. Everybody, they're so unique and different. I learned so much in Boston from that group about winning and what it takes to win the World Series. I have such a connection with those guys from Boston, and they're like brothers for life when you do something like that and you go through that. And guys like Dustin Pedroia, David Ortiz, Mike Napoli, who I played against here in this World Series, and Johnny Combs, and so many guys on that team that I learned about, true winners and how to finish, and what it takes to finish, and the hard work and the mental toughness. And then tried to bring some of that here to Chicago with Jon Lester and John Lackey and those guys that knew about winning. And I'm just so happy that I have that same connection now for life with this younger group, and just a different style for me and how we went about it. I think both are unique in themselves, and this Chicago thing is crazy for me as far as all the attention I've gotten and the love I've gotten from the fans and my teammates. But other than that, they're pretty unique.
David, I've read a stat about you, and I guess I was kind of not shocked, but I don't know. It caught me. And it is in your 15-year career, you were a starter for like 1.5 years. That was it. But you spent so much of it being the respected guy in the locker room, but more importantly, a personal catcher. You put that in quotes, a personal catcher for Jon Lester. How, I don't think it was difficult, but how unique was your journey and the success that you've had?
Yeah, I mean, when you look back, I'm trying to look back. I've been doing a lot of reflecting this year, being my last year, and I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. I think when you set out to have a career, you want to stay with one organization. You want to be the guy who's the face of the franchise and has this long Hall of Fame career. Like a Chipper Jones or somebody like that Derek Jeter, who stays with the team and is kind of a staple. And my career went obviously a lot different than that. And I think that being a backup, when I was, I started off as a backup, got a little time to start in Cincinnati, and then realized that I just wasn't mentally tough. I think it's the more mental toughness that I didn't have to play every day, just because of I didn't deal well with the offers, the 0 for 4s, the 0 for 8s, the 0 for 12s would turn into, an 0 for 20 really fast, because I was so worried about, trying to get that next hit. And being a backup, when I finally went to Atlanta and became a full-time backup to Brian McCann, and knew that he was, an all-star and a Silver Slugger and all the awards, it just helped me realize my job. And so I could go out there and I would give it all I had for that day, and then I could reflect for a day or two, and unless somebody got hurt. And it just really helped me out and help me understand my role and be as good of a teammate as I could, and help out in any way I could. So I think we set out to be a starter and make all the money and have all the glory. But this has been so rewarding for me. I've met so many great guys who have influenced me in my career and me personally and the human being that I am, that I'm very, very lucky to have played for a bunch of different teams and been on so many great teams with great people.
Yeah, but it also, I know you're being humble, and that's certainly a great quality, but I think you're also maybe ignoring or minimizing the impact you've had on Clubhouse. The reasons why you've been on so many teams and played on good teams is because you have value that doesn't always just show up on the stat sheet. I mean, it's an intangible that not many guys have, and it's really what has made you so revered. And I'm sitting there watching the World Series, David, and I'm saying, oh, God, here he is. He's 39 years old. They're going to put him in now. And I don't know if I think your spikes got caught, or I know you got crossed up, obviously. I'm saying, oh, this poor guy. Don't tell me he's going to limp out like this. And then you take a guy who's throwing basically 100, you take him yard. How in the world do you get your hands moving that quickly to touch up somebody like Andrew Miller? How do you do that at 39 years of age?
Oh, man. Yeah, I know. Well, Andrew, I know just playing with him how nasty he is. He was tough for me to even catch. So to hit him is even more difficult. And, I was 0-2. He threw me 2 nasty sliders, and I swung and missed at one and took the other one. And I'm 0-2. I'm like, okay, just battle. And he threw me a fastball up and away that I saw well. I remember seeing the fastball well. I was like, okay, if he throws that again, just let it eat, just let it rip. And the next pitch was kind of down where I like the ball down in the zone, and it was down. And I was choked up just enough to get the barrel on it. And I went to dead center. I thought Rajay had a beat on it. I was a little worried. I was like, oh, I've seen him rob some home runs before. So I'm running around the bases, and that thing went out, and I was so happy to get one of those runs back. I felt like, I'd just gotten in the game and given up 2 runs so fast. And I pride myself on defense and not letting the other team score. And I was super excited, and it's really cool to go deep in your last official at bat in the major leagues.
I can imagine.
I mean, it's just my whole career, especially this last season. This season's been such a storybook for me with some standing ovations and catching a no-hitter and Jake Arrieta and hitting my 100th career home run for me was really cool, and playing at Wrigley and all that, man. Just so many great, getting carried off the field by my teammates. Are you kidding me? Like, who gets to go out like that?
Rudy, and David Ross. That's it. That's it. Rudy and David Ross. It's a small group, man.
Unbelievable. Everybody keeps going, man, you're like Peyton Manning. I'm like, I'm a long cry from Peyton Manning. Trust me, guys. There's a lot of difference.
You know what I wanted to ask you, because we spend so much time, it's hard as a national radio show, and Tiki played in the NFL, as you know. It's football has just really swallowed up the sporting landscape. And obviously, and I'm at my core, I'm a baseball guy, so it's a little bit of a challenge and a struggle for me, because I could talk baseball every day, but nationally people don't want to hear it. As much as they do football. We were able to do it more this year because of the great story with your team and even the Indians, their long drought. And so it's very rare that you get to talk strategy with baseball. And you have to answer this for me, because I couldn't put my hand on it. How in the world, as a personal catcher that you are to Jon Lester, we all know that he's got an aversion throwing to first base. Number one, do you guys talk about that, or is that like, let's ignore it, we know he's not throwing over, I don't want to get in his head more? And secondly, that's more pressure on you. I mean, that's a tough thing to bite off and handle that, man.
Yeah, I think that, so much attention was drawn to Jon, which was kind of nice for me, is that everybody just forgot about me. And so, they were trying all these tricks to get in Jon's head and mess with him. And he's one of the fastest guys to the plate in the league. So he gives me enough time to throw guys out, even with the big lead. I did a pretty good job we did a pretty good job of, keeping runners at bay at times. And it was kind of nice to us for everybody to be talking about it, because we understand the other team was trying to do something different than they're used to. And whenever you're having the other team adjust to you, I feel like you're already in the plus. And I picked a guy off in the first round against San Fran and threw a guy out, and they stopped running. They understood, like, hey, we're running into outs here. And same with the Dodgers. They were trying to play the mind games and stuff, and they actually ended up costing them a run. Adrian Gonzalez was running back to the bag because they knew I had picked at second, and so we were able to throw him out at home plate with Ben Zobrist on a great throw. So, some of these things, we do talk about it. We try to, he doesn't like throwing over there. That's no secret, but we find ways to adjust to that and work around it. I think as the media and as human beings, we want to point out everybody's flaws and John's just happens to be, kind of obvious that he can't throw to first or doesn't like to throw to first. And we all have these flaws in sports, but some of them are hidden. I'm not, I'm not the greatest hitter in the world, and it just gets, it gets exposed.
Yeah, but you're not afraid. But Dave, you're not afraid to actually swing.
It's a good point. Good
know?
point. But yeah, you're right. But he does a pretty good job. He almost won the Cy Young or is in the Cy Young running. So I think everybody looks past that, and this guy's a really good pitcher. And if you focus on pitching, then he does a pretty good job at that. So it doesn't matter whether he likes to throw it to first or not.
A two-parter here for you, David. What happens with Jon now? Because you're not there anymore. Who's going to be his guy? Because I know that familiarity is important for him when you have your battery mate as cohesive and on point as you guys are. And then the second part of this, what do you do now? Are you going to get into managing? I mean, baseball's been in your blood for so long. What do you do?
Well, Tiki, I mean, it's like I still have that love for the sport, and I'm going to miss competing. The body is telling me it's time to go home. My family wants me home. I'm going to try to balance that and do. I can't get back into this lifestyle right away. I'm missing too much with my kids. I got a 9 and 7-year-old and a 1-year-old, and my 9 and 7 are getting into fun things at home, and I just want to be a part of that. I want to be, being a dad is important to me and influencing my kids. So hopefully I can be able to find some avenue to stay relevant in the game and keep talking baseball. I've learned so much from so many different people and the pros and cons of my career that I feel like it'd be selfish of me not to pass that along somehow, some way. So I'm going to try to find some avenue, sit down when things slow down and just, talk to my agent and see what maybe my options are and go from there. But as far as Jon goes, they got a really good catching group coming back in Miggy and Contreras, and Wilson's got one of the best arms I've ever seen behind the plate, so I don't think the running game's going to be that big of a deal. And him and Jon will work. Jon's now the veteran guy, and he'll have to work Wilson into what he likes to do, and that's what spring training's for. It's just like training camp. It's very important to get that familiarity with one another and go through some adversity and come out the other side in the positive and continue to grow as a unit. And I don't see a problem there. Wilson's a hard worker and a great kid.
And a little extra PFP for Lester on the backfield when nobody's looking, right, David?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, we all got to do it.
I hear
your flaws are going to come out, especially on the big stage.
Hey, but you nailed the most important point. Team dad. That's one uniform you never take off, man. You wore a lot in your life, but
thank you.
So you got it. Time to go and be a dad full time and all that stuff. And when your agent speaks to teams, trust me, you'll have offers. You know that. I know that. What you do next, we wish you the best. It really has been a great story, and we really latched onto it, and we're happy you gave us a few minutes, David. Congrats on the championship, and congrats on a classy and really interesting career. Well done, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's always a pleasure, and look forward to talking to you guys in the future. Y'all take care.